Dave Hodges here, host of the Common Sense Show. We are the show that is freeing America one enslaved mind at a time. I'm gonna be straight up with you right here. We have a real issue in America right now with our continuity of government. No, I'm not talking about the program. I'm talking about continuing in the format that we're in. We have some breaking stories today, and I'm just going to back up and just say this. From time to time, I'm going to talk about one of our sponsors, and I choose our sponsors for one reason. One, do they deliver what they say they deliver? And two, most importantly, could my audience benefit from this? And we have lots of people that want to advertise here. I have no shortage of people that want to advertise. However, and here's the big however, not all of them offer what I think are the most optimal products for what people are going to need going forward. End days, tribulation, all that discussion, I think it's important. We need to keep it in the forefront. We're not supposed to guess as to the time and day of Jesus' return and backtrack 7 years at the beginning of the tribulation, but we're to look for the signs of the times. And we are in the signs of the times. Now, I don't know whether it's a year, 100 years, or 1,000 years. I have no idea. And I'm not supposed to know. And that's okay. But I also know we're headed into really tough times as possible precursors to end times. And I want to help you prepare for those. I want as many of you to come out as whole, healthy, and financially sound as possible. And one of the products that I come back with people on is Noble Gold here. And I'm going to share this with you because I have been well, I've been an advertiser for quite a while, but I've been a customer of Noble Gold for 9 years. That's a long time. I've been doing shows with the CEO, Colin Plume, for 9 years, and it started out really, we weren't even selling Noble Gold. We were just doing shows on precious metals and the economy and so forth. But your money is in trouble. The digital people want to take it over and turn it into digital dollar. And then, listen, ultimately, social credit and that control is going to follow. All you have to do is look at China and who set China up? We did. Our company set up China's social credit system. And then we get into the fact that inflation is just destroying your savings. And they can say the inflation's 3.5%, and President Trump is just doing what every other president's done. I wouldn't say he's being totally dishonest. The system is dishonest. In core inflation, they don't count the price of gas or food. It's ridiculous. Like you don't have to drive to work or you don't have to eat. That they say inflation's 3.5%. Yay, yay, America wins. No, 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 no. Do you think it's 3.5% when you go shopping for groceries? You notice gas is going up again. Do you really think it's 3.5%? Is that your feeling? It's not. It's more like 6, 7%. And if this war gets going full bore, it's going to be a heck of a lot higher than that. And so you need to position yourself to protect what you've earned. One of the ways you do it is by gold and silver. And if you have a retirement in the bank, you're going to get destroyed because when the banks start to falter, and they're on the edge right now, when they start to falter in big numbers, under Dodd-Frank 2010 and UCC Code Section 8, they can keep your assets. You have been declared now since 2010 to be an unsecured creditor. You're in second place. So you hear that someone's bank account was shut down. They can't do that. Yes, they can. And we found that out during the lockdown years. People were protesting, and the banks just said, we don't like you as a customer. Okay, we know they can do this. And the FDIC only has 0.1% of the money on hand. They need to cover all bank deposits. So your $250,000 agreement to insure is only as valid as the assets they have to back it up, and they don't have the assets to back it up. And then you add in two more things here. One, three things really. Janet Yellen, well, we need inflation because that'll reduce the real value of the debt and real purchasing power. In other words, we need inflation. And inflation has to be higher than wage earners. Wages are going up. savings account have to be operating at a deficit, and you are paying through inflationary practices on the debt. And so it was Janet Yellen, okay, and then it was Scott Bessent about 13, 14 months ago said this is how we pay down the debt. And Kevin Warsh, now the Federal Reserve Chair, when he was just in the Federal Reserve, he was basically saying the same thing. So the two people that have big voices in our economy, Treasury, Federal Reserve, are saying we're going to push the inflation and you're going to pay for the debt. You're going to pay it down to a more manageable level. Okay, well, if you go to the gold and silver, you're going to go to the opposite direction. It's your choice. Now, I have up here, he's like Noble Gold, preserve what works. Look at some of these numbers here. $2.5 billion in retirement savings secured. In other words, they've taken IRAs the bank can confiscate under Dodd-Frank. They've transferred them into IRAs, 401ks that you own that are backed by a precious metal rather than a failing dollar, and the banks can't touch it. You go, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. And I get that answer all the time when people ask me about Noble Gold. I'll be out at a conference, someone will come up and say, Dave, why are you so bullish on Noble Gold? Do you have a retirement? Yeah. And then when they say the magic words, yeah, I have an IRA. Is it associated with the bank? Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then I hit them with this. Okay. You need to be looking at that. Number two, 16,000 investors have chosen us to secure retirement planning. Okay. Now I'm lucky. I don't have retirement associated with the bank because I became smart many years ago in that area. I don't trust the banks. You shouldn't either. Hundreds of satisfied investors on Google's ranked 4.9 to 5.0 scale for their satisfaction with Noble Gold, and they have more than 20 years of helping their clients. Okay, now let me tell you your experience when you call. When you call Noble Gold, you're going to get someone that's extremely well trained, and I'm being very serious about that. Very well trained. You're going to get someone who's friendly and they've been trained, care about your customer. And number three, they don't push their customer. They're trained not to do that. I remember I was so shocked when I wanted to buy my first gold. And I called Noble Gold. They're the only company I've ever done business with in gold. And I called them and I said, I'm thinking about buying gold. And then I asked them some questions. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, they're going to try to close me now. No, I had to close my own deal. This is how they're trained. This is how Colin Plume, the CEO, trains his staff. He goes, we just want to have discussions with people and let them make a decision that they think is in their best interest, but we'll give them all the available facts. What a great business model. This is why I'm so bullish on Noble Gold. I do business with people that have high integrity, and right there at the top is Colin Plume and Noble Gold. You need to look at this. Call them, have a discussion. Don't let Janet Yellen, Scott Bessent, Kevin Worth, don't let them use your assets to pay down the debt. You didn't create it. You balanced your own budget. It's the federal government that didn't balance the budget. Why should you pay for their mistake? I'd do it now. And this is one of the reasons why I pick advertisers that help people, and they will help you. Call 877 646 5347. Just you go to the website here, noblegoldinvestments.com, and you're going to see so much. It's just absolutely incredible. Okay, 877 646 5347. Please do this because there's going to come a time when, if our Constitution continues to go south, if the oligarchy and the corporatism raises its ugly head further and government becomes an administrative arm of the corporations, okay, there's going to be a time where we're going to have to take our country back. And you need to be in good physical health and you need to be in good financial health and you need to be able to fight the fight. And I'm not talking about picking up pitchforks because collective action is much more effective than civil conflict. 877 646 5347. Don't forget to pray. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com. And this is a news item. If we send ground troops to Iran, kiss the value of the dollar away. And I really believe the digital bros, the tech bros, are sitting back. Oh boy, I hope this happens because then we get control through digital. Yeah. And they're planning for it. Do you think it's a coincidence that the 2026 and 2027 cars have kill switches in them? See, I don't think this has much to do with DUIs. This has a lot more to do with control because in those systems, they have a geographic a kill switch. They can absolutely shut you down and keep you from leaving certain areas. Yeah, that's called 15-minute cities, people. And this is what the tech bros want. In 15-minute cities, they control the diet. Remember the World Economic Forum, you'll own nothing and love it. And then they start talking about you'll eat bugs, not meat. And remember those discussions? Well, the largest equity investor in the United States, 90% of all private equity goes to BlackRock. Who's their CEO? Larry Fink. Where is he also the CEO? The co-CEO of the World Economic Forum that just made all those quotes I just said. I feel that some of these people want to see the existing system fail so they can grab control. And trust me, they are not Christians, in my humble opinion. They are not constitutionalists. And America would take a deep, dark turn to the abyss. And I remember wondering as a fairly young adult in my 20s into my early 30s, could America ever go south? And I remember saying this to a history class where I had a sudden flash of insight. I know a lot of people didn't like FDR because of his socialist leanings and policies, but Germany was going through the same thing and they got fascism deluxe on steroids. America did not. And that was because of FDR. Now, some of the things he did are still with us today and they're not positive, but he did keep us away from becoming the next Nazi Germany. Today, I'm concerned about us losing our rights like the people in Germany did. And you're looking at a descendant of German immigrants who couldn't take it anymore and they left. And I grew up hearing these stories. So I sincerely hope you take this into account and plan accordingly. Again, for this particular piece, I always say food, water, guns, gold, ammo, natural medicine, and tools. And I know people say, Dave, you're nonviolent. Well, why the guns? Because the people that don't plan like you may come to hurt you and your family to take what you have planned for. And self-defense is biblical. And let's hope it never comes to that. And I pray it never comes to that. But you're a fool if you don't take steps to protect your family with the social chaos that could follow a banking collapse. And if you don't think a banking collapse is likely, then ask yourself why there are 66 banks on the near failure list of the Federal Reserve, but you don't see a word about this in the media. But you can go look it up. Noble Gold is where you need to start. Protect your assets as much as you can. Leave operating capital in the bank. Use your debit card. Stay away from the credit cards. Get out of debt and begin to pay off your debt. And those are the best steps you can take right now to weather the storm of what's coming financially. Gold will always hold its value in troubled times. Simon and Garfunkel could have wrote a song about this. Let's see. Yeah. Bridge Over Troubled Waters. 877-646-5349. Food, water. Stock up. Absolutely. I'm Dave Hodges. I'm wishing you all the very, very best because I want America to, whatever we go into, I want us to come out the way we should be. And we need a healthy and wealthy populace to do that. And trust me, I believe the tech bros, the majority of them, don't want you healthy and wealthy. Oh, really? Well, okay, I know that sounds extreme, but let me quote the head of Palantir, one of Trump's top advisors, and I wish President Trump would distance himself from Peter Thiel on a podcast. Oh, yeah, Dave, you've told that story. Okay, but there are those that haven't heard it. On a podcast, he was interviewed about melding man and machine, living a long time, and so forth. And the podcaster very eloquently, very intelligently asked this question twice. Does humanity have a right to survive? Now, you ask me, I'd say, yeah, humanity has a right to survive and to flourish. That would have been my answer. That'd have been your answer. But that wasn't the answer that Peter Thiel gave. What answer did he give? Stuttering and no answer. I think that tells you everything you need to know. This is why I came on here to really overemphasize the fact you need to have gold. But I'm also telling you, you need to be in preparation mode right now. FEMA tells you they've gone from three days to 2 weeks of prep material. I think you need at least 3 months. And we'll talk more about that with other sponsors we have, because every one of them is designed to get you through a crisis that's coming. And the worst thing that happens if there's no crisis that's coming, you're still holding the world's most valuable asset historically. Gold has held its value for 6,000 years. One more time, 877-646-5347. We have a really busy show following on our social media today. Let me just, I'll run through this real quickly here. There's new information on the problems with the Ogallala water aquifer. And I interviewed a farmer yesterday privately. He doesn't want to come on air. It's someone who I've known for a long, 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 long time. In fact, to give you a little clue, I used to be his high school basketball coach. Um, then we're going to take a look at our data centers contributing to the spread of cyclosporiosis. You know, the pathogen that's causing people to throw up and to have incessant diarrhea. Sorry to be gross, but yeah, right. You've heard about that. The lettuce, Taco Bell. It's not just Taco Bell, people. They're taking the blame, but it's not just Taco Bell. And then are the data centers contributing to this? And if so, how? We're going to run through that. And then we're going to talk about on the positive side. Going into tough times, you need to be in optimal shape no matter what your age is. You can always improve the condition that you're in. And I'm going to tell you about the 5 predictors of longevity, but along the way, we're going to talk about the simple things you can do to improve on each one of these factors. And I hope you take it to heart. I've got one I'm still working on. The other 4, I nail it. The 5th one, I'm probably about 80% there. So my factors came in pretty good. How will your factors come in? Well, you're going to have to pay attention and tune in to our social media, which here is another issue. We are probably days or weeks away from migrating away from social media to spaces. One, there's still things that are critical I don't feel that we can talk about. No misinformation, no slandering, but there are things that are sensitive to some people that they don't want discussed, even if they're true. But number 2, in my venues in the audio market, we're still at 0.5% in the world in terms of top podcasts. Still there. That's lofty, and I'm grateful. Praise God for that. But in the social media realm, we're taking a nosedive. And it was dramatic. We stepped off a cliff, and I can point to the date that it happened, which means we probably ticked somebody off. Um, and we're here to help preserve America. Remember, we serve God, family, country in that order. And some of the people that oppose us are not in favor of God, family, and country. It's that simple. So, what I'm going to ask you to do in the meantime, as long as we're here, to share what we do far and wide, because it won't get shared. You can't go from getting 20 to 150,000 viewers per social media post to 800 on similar topics. So share far and wide. And when we migrate, just be aware if you don't find us here one day because we leave, um, you can always find us over on Spaces, and we have our website you can go to and track that, and we'll publicize it. But I'm working in conjunction with Scotty Sachs, ex-Hollywood producer, leaving for the right reasons, good moral man. He and I have done a lot of work together on various projects, and I trust him. And we're gonna have a fun show. And I was just letting you know that it's coming, and we're planning and we're talking, and we both got to clear a few hurdles in our lives so we have clear runway. And then we're going to take off and we're going to do a two-man show. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. And of course, always you can find us at regular podcasts like the all usual suspects, Spotify, and all the rest. And we're on Red State Talk Radio and all their affiliates. And we're on FM station in Florida. Um, Global Star Radio Network's been taken over by Dave Krieger, and he's doing the same thing we've always done. And they have outlets in Europe and in America. So we're there, and you can find us in a number of places. So a lot of people thought when we disappeared from one social media site for 15 months, oh, he's not doing anything anymore. That won't be true. That won't be true. When the second coming happens or I'm stopped permanently, okay, then we'll stop. But until then, we're going to try to help people. And I know we have helped people. I know that for sure. And I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Help yourself by prepping. Food, water, guns, gold, ammo, natural medicine, and tools. And how about the Constitution and the Bible for the rebuild? Dave Hodges here. God bless all of you. We'll see you back here again next time.